Whew, exciting news. I get an expansion set. Moose is gonna help me set up for my hot frog. Right, Moose? You're like, yeah, after this quick nap, Mom. Okay, so it is Tuesday. I normally feed my worms on Mondays, but I didn't because many reasons. But mostly because we have our new hot frog that literally just got delivered moments ago. So I'm gonna be opening it up, putting it on here, probably rearranging a little bit so we can get this under control. And yeah, Moose is gonna help, right, Moose? Maybe later. And if anybody's wondering where Wally is, don't worry, he's with his best friend Mocha, and they're living their best life, running around. So let me get this set up in a good spot, and then we'll start opening. Hey, Moose. You're gonna just sit right in there. Okay. This is Moose, in case you guys are new to the channel. He's 3 months old. He's a Labradoodle. And his brother is Wally, and he's a 2-year-old Golden Doodle. And I have been vermicomposting since July. And I started with well, actually, no, that's not true. I started earlier in the year. But I got like one of the practice kit sets from Uncle Jim's and learned a lot. But I learned that I need a different system that's a little bit easier, more like passive composting or lazy composting. And so I really enjoyed the hot frog for that reason. Now I'm in Florida and it is something like, I don't know, almost 90 today, and even though it's end of October, oh, the worms are in here. Oh, and they're warm. I think today's high was 87. So I was able to get 250 worms. They haven't been in stock a lot lately, so I'm really glad to get any. And that's how much I got before when I started my hot frog back in July. So I think they've gotten bigger since then. Okay, so coconut coir, the huge shredded paper, and I think this is so interesting every time I get this because it makes me feel better. So this is their shredded paper that goes into their blends with the instructions, and it's like, you can tell like it's clearly printed paper, like, right, you can see the color and stuff. And the bag that I usually use, I mean, granted mine is like part cardboard, part you know, paper towels, part packing paper and stuff, but I don't use the printed stuff because I always worry, you know, on the internet they're like, oh, there's soy in here and there's colors and whatever, and like, these guys know worms, and they're like, no, you can clearly use it, so they wouldn't send it to us for no reason. Let's see. Instructions, which I think are probably, yeah, these are pretty much like the generic, like, don't let your worms sit forever, so that's fine. So push this off the side. So in the expansion set, you get 2 additional trays that you can stack your next set of worms on. So it's literally the same ones as before, which is, oops, sorry, Moose. So there's 2 of them in here. I think for the time being, I'm just gonna let them sit here for a minute, and I'll let our worms kind of cool off a little bit in here. And then I'm gonna go get a bucket to put this bad boy in. So I have a bucket. I put a little bit of water in, not a whole lot, just kind of like tap, you know, nothing's fancy. I cracked this coconut coir open. If you've ever set one of these up, and I especially remember trying it with this one, but I think this has happened to me both this time and then like when I had like the shoebox one from Uncle Jim's. I think in one of the instruction sets they say split this in half, and then like when it's dry, and then put it in here in one at a time into the water, and then put it one at a time into the buckets. And honestly, like, I could not break that in half. So my plan, which worked out really well for me last time, was to take said brick as a whole, put it in some water, and, you know, we're going to keep the instructions like normal, and then from there we're just going to eyeball splitting it in between the 2 layers because it doesn't really matter. You know, like, if you want it to be close to perfect, you know, obviously and equal, but if you get a little bit more on one or the other, you know, whatever. So I shall put you guys over here. Make sure you can still see close enough. So this is the brick, and I don't remember exactly how much this one weighs, but it's a pretty decent sized brick. So, and this is bedding for them, but it also doubles as food, so they always have, you know, something to eat. So I try to capture all the paper, and it definitely, like, you know, sheds a little bit, but that's okay. So we're just gonna let that sit. Actually, I'll put it this way. And in the past, I usually just let it sit for a few minutes, and then I come back and kind of shuffle it around with my hand. So mix this around a little bit, and you can see it kind of just turns a darker brown, but you can kind of flip it, and all of the parts that got wet, you can just kind of push off the edge, and that way it'll make it easier for the next part to get access to the liquid. So I just kind of rotate it back and forth, and honestly it doesn't take long. It's been like a few minutes. But what I do want to do while that's kind of percolating is I want to kind of figure out and talk through this part with you, because if there's 4 trays, you have 2 per, let's say, worm setup, or you could, you know, it depends on what you want to do. So I bought this original one. So this is what the original comes with 250 worms. They were in here in July, and like literally the first week of July, they got put in here, this tier 1. Then in October, beginning of October, like the 3-month marker, they got moved into this tier 2. Now I checked on it last week, and they were still, like, there were still some lingering here because there's still some lingering food that hasn't broken down. And the internet has told me that and like, if you've been watching, like, you already know this, but it takes a minute for them to all migrate up, like more than a month. So I did not realize that, and I definitely have overfed this bin to the point where I unfortunately have had my first, like, it's not like I don't even want to say it's a problem because that feels like jinxing it, but I haven't had flies this whole time, and I've had like maybe 4 or 5 on 2 occasions, so not even every occasion, in here, which I'm trying to counter by extending when they get fed and letting them burn through some of that food, but also putting more paper products on top. So I'm anticipating that I'll probably get a few flies when I open this up today, but I'm not sure. That being said, right now I just pop this cover up and I put the food in and go on about my merry way, and these worms have been migrating upwards and they're doing fine, except for now this one is getting all of the excess liquid from here dripping down through it. So it's kind of delaying the drying out time on this. And I read how lots of different worm trays work, and some are like a top-down method where your worms that you're feeding are on the top, and then they migrate down afterwards, like when you want them to move to the next tray. And I don't know, or you could have them migrating up. I'm inclined to say the trays that aren't being actively fed and you're trying to dry out should probably be at the top, so that gravity pulls that liquid down. So I'm going to try that. I think it's going to be more work, because then it'll be this tray on the very bottom, then another active tray here, then the tray, which is this one, that is drying, and hopefully people are, the Wormingtons are leaving, and then an empty tray for now. So I want to try that for a little bit and see how it works. I think like the top 2 trays will be really easy to pick up, because there won't be anything really in, I mean, there'll be stuff in it, but it won't be like, there won't be a lot of fresh food, weighing it down, and then it'll just be the bottom 2. So I anticipate that feeding is going to take a little bit longer, but we'll see. I've also been storing food scraps. I have a couple of these containers, which, like, obviously they're getting a little nasty in here, but that's fine, because the microbes are what these guys, like, the worms aren't eating the food, they're eating the broken down food microbes and whatnot. So feeling good about that. Have some scraps on hand in case we need to fill anything in, but I think I'm just gonna check on this here and see if we need, okay, so you saw how much water we added before. It's definitely not broken down 100% yet, but I mean, you can see how much it expanded. There's still plenty more to go. So I am going to add more water. And if any of you have seen me put together this originally, you saw that I put way too much water in originally. So I am so proud of myself. I learned we're going to add more and make it easier. Look at us doing all the multitasking. Okay, so there's a lot more water in here. And so I am going to move. You know what? Actually, no. I think you guys can have a good view from here. So we're going to just check on this top bin before we do the rearranging. We'll figure out the feeding for it. Like I said, it's Tuesday today. Normally I feed them on Monday, so it's been a week and, 1 day essentially since they were last fed. So feeling good. Okay, so I have a paper towel on hand that just clean up my mess. But that way I'm gonna, if any flies decided to come out, I'm gonna get them. But I always like to look at the top first and kind of see. And this kind of tells me that it's a little full with the, or was a little full with the bedding, which is totally accurate because, trying to prevent flies and whatnot. So last week, oh my gosh, you can totally see where the divot is. I fed them about a half of a gallon bag of food in the middle, and you can totally see how it's, decompressed where the food was, and now it's not. And they were previously fed on either side. So I like to check the sides where I know there wasn't actively food, like in the last feeding, to see what we see. So I see some guys in here. Hey, fellas. I guess, and ladies, I suppose. Let's see. So, like, there's some guys definitely in here. Yeah. Hey, guys. Hello. But there's not, like, I don't see any food besides the cardboard. So, that's good. It means they worked that down. Let's see here. Let's see. And I don't mind that there's cardboard in here because I know that they're going to eat it later. Okay. Oh, hey, guys. Hey. All right. So, this is interesting. So, over here, you're starting to see some, like, peels and stuff. And these have been in here, like, literally probably since the first feeding in this bin. And they're just taking so long to break down, which I'm not mad about because it's kind of like a good food reserve. Like, where I know that they'll never be starving. And then let's look at this corner here. Yeah, some eggshells, which, yes, I know people grind them up. No, I'm not going to grind mine up. If this is going into my garden, which 100% is, I don't care if there's like solid eggshells in here. I am seeing a little bit of flies coming out though, so it's good to know. Got some flies. So now let's check on this middle portion here. Ooh, what looks like banana peels are a pop in place. Oh yeah, okay, this is good. This is good, people. Look at all those little worms. Hey guys. Sorry to disrupt you. So I see some banana peels. I see some, I guess, Brussels sprouts probably. Okay, here's another, like, there's definitely some very black banana peels in here. Part of a Brussels sprout, maybe. Let's see what we got on this side. Yeah, more, like, we're a lot of this was banana peels last time, so I'm not surprised. But, like, look how my friends are. Hey, friends. So, I think, given that this box definitely still has food in it, has a lot of bedding in it, I'm going to try and put food in here, make sure it's covered while I'm bedding, and seeing if I can extend the window of when it needs to be fed. So instead of doing it every week, maybe do it every 10 days. I don't want to put too much food in. It's my big problem. And I think I don't want to put a lot of banana peels in this time because there's a lot in there already. So this collection, which is already just smells delicious, has some Brussels sprouts because I bought a bag that didn't look so good, some zucchini butts. There is a little bit of banana in here, but there's some mushrooms. It's like, it's not all banana, So I'm not going to put all of this in. I'm not trying to put all of this in. There's no way that's equivalent to the, gallon of food I was feeding them when they were on their bottom tier a week. But it's definitely progress, I think. Like, it's, but they have a lot in here, so I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to overfeed. Now, I try to overcover because I've been overfeeding them, And like I said, I'm gonna try to expand the time that they can spend feasting. So I have my handy dandy bag. I will just sprinkle generously over to help fill in the gaps a little bit. So let's check on our coconut. Hello, coconut. Okay, so we're definitely making progress. I don't think it's quite, like, there's definitely still some dry parts to it, for sure. So I'm gonna put a little bit more, well, let's see what's down at the bottom and see if all the moisture, okay. So there's definitely some moisture down there. Okay, maybe we won't go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, or maybe we won't put more water in. Okay, good. Now that I've messed my hand up,